What is going on, everyone? Chris from Pickdawgz here with On Deck, where myself and Brad Francis are going to be breaking down the entire Major League Baseball card from Monday, July 27th, 2026. And to kick things off, we are headed to Globe Life Field for the finale of this four-game AL West set between the Rangers and the Mariners. It's going to be Kumar Rocker for Texas, George Kirby for Seattle. And I haven't been a big fan of the Seattle Mariners offense right now because it's basically been non-existent during this losing streak. Entering Sunday's series finale, they scored a combined 10 runs during this four-game slide, an average of 2.5 runs per game. But George Kirby has been really consistent for the Mariners. You know, he's pitched 6 straight quality starts. He's coming off of 6 innings of 3-hit shutout ball against the Cincinnati Reds. Has great career numbers against the Texas Rangers. His last 5 starts against Texas, a 1.65 ERA, a 4-1 record. You know, this season in 13 2/3, he's given up just 4 runs, 13 hits, but 9 strikeouts, not too shabby. And I think that the Mariners have a decent enough bullpen that they can hold it down here. Kumar Rocker, you know, he pitched well against the White Sox last time out. 6 innings of 1-hit shutout ball. Kind of looking like the Rocker the last couple years where, you know, with Kumar Rocker, you faded him on the road and you backed him at home. But before that, he had really struggled in 2 starts at home in the month of July against Houston and Detroit. And his numbers against Seattle in his career have kind of been a mixed bag. Hasn't faced them yet this season, which is a little bit of an advantage for Rocker. They've yet to see him this year, but I think the Mariners still find a way to get it done here. I'm going to take Seattle in this one on the money line.
Before I get into the next game, if you guys are looking for me and Chris's best bets, the plays that we are most confident in each and every day, you can access those. Just click the links in the description of this video. It'll say Brad's best picks and Chris's best picks, and you can access all our plays there. I'm coming off a massive weekend. I know Chris has been hot all summer, so if you ever want to hop on with us, this is the time to do it. And then we also have our Christmas and July specials. Until the end of July, both mine and Chris's duration packages will be discounted pretty heavily. So we're getting hot. It's almost football season. If you ever wanted to hop on something long-term, this is the time to do it. But let's get into this next game, guys. We got the Baltimore Orioles and the Tigers going at it. The probable starters for this one, it looks like it's Kyle Bradish on the mound for the Orioles and Kader Montero on the mound for the Tigers. Got to give Kyle Bradish his props, man. I didn't know how he was going to be in this Orioles rotation coming into the season, but he's held it together pretty much all season. He's been very consistent, and kind of same with Kader Montero. I mean, he's been great as well coming into this one with a 3.14 ERA. I think this pitching matchup, the starting pitching matchup, is a push, to be honest with you. And honestly, I think this game is a bit of a coin flip. Odds makers do agree with me. It's basically 110 on either way when it comes to the odds. But the one edge I do think the Tigers have in this one is playing at home. You know, this is a team that's 5 games above 500 at home. The Orioles are 6 games below 500 on the road. And, you know, the Tigers, after their series against the Royals on Sunday, they get to stay home, sleep in their own beds, where the Orioles will have to travel. So I would lean towards the Tigers in this one. But like I said, guys, I don't see too much of an edge on either side. I truly think this is more of a coin flip type of game. So if you're betting this one, I honestly think you're doing some gambling. But if you really want to bet it, I would go Tigers just because the home and away splits favor Detroit in this one.
Now it's off to Lone Depot Park for this AL East matchup between the Marlins and the Phillies. It looks like it's going to be Tyler Phillips for the Marlins. No starter confirmed for the Phillies at the time this video is being recorded. I have seen Zach Wheeler listed as the starter, so we'll have to see if that ends up being the case. But for right now, you know, it's hard to get behind Miami. You know, at the time this video is being recorded, the Marlins are actually leading the Padres 3-1. So there is a chance that Miami could snap this ugly losing streak and get back to 500. But Phillips didn't look all that sharp in his last outing. He's only gone 5 1/3 and given up 5 runs in his last 2 starts combined, 7 hits, only 3 strikeouts. He's not necessarily a strikeout-dependent pitcher, but this Philadelphia Phillies lineup is a lot better than what we have seen. Now, I understand Philadelphia coming off of Sunday Night Baseball with travel, not necessarily an easy spot to be in, but you know, it's so hard for me to get there with Miami, especially if Zach Wheeler is the starting option for the Philadelphia Phillies in this one. Like I said, I'm going to try to do some digging, hopefully get that out at least at the latest on Monday's morning show. But for right now, I got to lean towards the Phillies. Just even if the Marlins were to win this game, you know, one win is not going to all of a sudden convince me that the Marlins are back on track here. So give me the Philadelphia Phillies in this one.
Next up, guys, we are headed into Pittsburgh. We got the Diamondbacks and the Pirates going at it. Looks like the probable starters for this one, Merrill Kelly on the mound for the Diamondbacks, and Mr. Bubba Chandler on the mound for the Pirates. You know, I think we see some fireworks in this series. I would not be mad at an over in this game. I mean, both these teams are playing while I'm recording this video on Sunday. The Pirates are up 8-4 in the end of the sixth, and the Nationals are beating the Diamondbacks 6-4 in the top of the sixth. It's been two of the higher scoring games on this Sunday slate. And you just look how these teams are built. Good bats, especially in the top of both of these teams' lineups, and really bad bullpens. So I think this is a series to attack some overs. But if you guys are looking for a side, it'd have to be Pittsburgh for me here at home. While I'm recording this, get Pittsburgh at minus 120. I would probably set this price closer to minus 125, minus 130, just with the Pirates being at home here. You know, this Diamondbacks team, you look at their home and away splits, they have struggled to put together quality at-bats when traveling away from Arizona. And, you know, Bubba Chandler has definitely had his struggles this season. I was high on Bubba Chandler coming into the season, but you look at his last couple starts, gave up 0 earned runs to the Yankees on July 22nd. The start before that, he only gave up 2 earned against Milwaukee. Those are two of, you know, some of the best lineups in baseball, some of the most consistent lineups in baseball this season. You know, maybe Bubba Chandler is starting to put things together. I like the Pirates here at home. I think this is a game where their bats, I would give the edge to the Pirates' bats in this game. And then I would give a slight edge to Bubba Chandler over Merrill Kelly. Now, the bullpens, I think it's kind of a push. I mean, both these bullpens could give up runs late. So maybe if you guys want to do a first 5 to avoid that, I'm not mad at it. But for me, I would go Pirates here on the money line.
Now we're going to Nationals Park for this interleague matchup between the Washington Nationals and the Toronto Blue Jays. Andrew Alvarez listed as the starter for Washington. No starter confirmed for Toronto at the time this video is being recorded. And, you know, Alvarez has been a decent option for the Nationals. He hasn't done a whole lot in terms of going deep into games. He's normally about a 4 to 5 inning guy. But a lot of times, those 4 to 5 innings are decent. Now, his last 2 starts, he's given up a combined 8 runs on 10 hits over 10 innings of work. But he hasn't given up a home run in any of his last 6 starts, so that's a good sign. Only 2 home runs allowed in 53 and a third innings of work this season. You're facing a Blue Jays lineup that does have some pop in their bats, but you look at their numbers against left-handed pitching in the month of July, it has not been anything really to write home about if you're the Toronto Blue Jays. They have some of the worst numbers in baseball against lefties. Team OPS, they're 3rd worst in baseball. They're hitting .217. And for a team that normally doesn't strike out a whole lot, a strikeout rate around 23% actually feels a little bit high for the Blue Jays, just given how little they strike out and how little they have struck out over the last couple of seasons. So for me, I don't love this Nationals bullpen. I think Toronto can definitely have a significant edge when it comes to the relief pitching in this game. But in the end, I still think that Toronto has the advantage there. I think that, you know, Washington, you know, if they can get enough damage from Alvarez, depending on who Toronto sends out here, I think that Washington can do enough damage early and basically hold on until the end. Like right now, like I said, I don't trust this Blue Jays lineup to produce offense consistently. We saw them really struggle for the most part against the Boston Red Sox in that weekend series. So as long as it doesn't really come down to a bullpen type situation late in this game, and even then Toronto's bullpen isn't that much better in the month of July, a 4.58 ERA compared to Washington's at 5.11. So I'm going to roll with the Nationals in this one. I think they draw first blood at home.
Next up, we are headed into Cincinnati. We got the Cleveland Guardians and the Reds going at it. Probable starters for this game, Slade Cecconi on the mound for the Guards and Chase Burns on the mound for the Reds, who's just having a fantastic season. At this point, guys, I will not be fading Chase Burns much this season, if at all. When Chase Burns is on the mound, good things happen to the Reds. Not only does he hold a 2.42 ERA, but he's coming in with a 12-1 record. And I'm not a guy who puts a bunch of stock into a pitcher's win-loss record. You know, when you look at win-losses, it's definitely more of a team accolade. But like I said, when Chase Burns is on the mound, the Reds figure out ways to win games. Slade Cecconi, on the other hand, you know, he's been trending downwards. The only thing is the Reds bullpen. And for those reasons, I want to cut this game in half, and I want to take the Reds first 5 minus half a run. Another reason why I want to cut this one in half is because to take the Reds full game money line, you're going to have to pay close to minus 160. I'm not about that. I love me Chase Burns. I do think they win this game, but if you think I'm putting a $160 on this Reds team in that bullpen, you're crazy. You're crazy. So, guys, let's put all the money on Chase Burns back. This is what he's been doing all season, is coming through and having quality innings. Reds first 5 minus half a run. That's the play.
Now we're going to Citi Field for this matchup between the Mets and the Braves in NL East Division showdown. You got Zach Thornton for the Mets and Martin Perez for the Braves. And if you told me that this was going to be the state of this matchup this late in the season coming into the year, I might have thought you'd have been crazy. But, the Mets just have not been playing well. However, Zach Thornton, I will say, has been a bit of a bright spot for this team. In 3 starts since late June, Thornton has pitched a combined 19 innings of work, has given up 1 run combined on 10 hits. Now, he only had 2 strikeouts in that last start against the Milwaukee Brewers, but his last 2 outings surrounding the All-Star break, a combined 13 innings of work, 5 hits allowed, no runs given up against Milwaukee on the road, which is not an easy place to pitch, and against Boston at home when the Red Sox were sort of just starting their little hot streak, and it was a game that they ended up losing, did the Mets 3-2 in extra innings, but it wasn't Thornton's fault. He put his team in the best possible position. And I think he could do that here against the Braves. Now, yes, the Braves have tried to pick up their play against left-handed pitching in the month of July, but not by a whole lot. They're still bottom 10 in baseball in team OPS. The batting average is only at 227. The isolated power numbers aren't jumping off the page. And as long as Thornton can put his team in a decent spot, I think that the Mets can at least do enough here to lead through 5 innings. Now, on the other side, you've got Martin Perez, who has been okay in certain spots. But, the last time he faced the Mets, it was less than 6 innings. It was, less than 5 innings, pardon me. 4 1/3, gave up 5 runs on 6 hits, 4 earned runs. Only had 1 strikeout in that start. And again, he's not a strikeout-dependent pitcher, but you'd like to see some strikeouts, at least miss some bats. And he did that against the Padres, who have been notoriously bad against lefties this season in his last start, first one back from the All-Star break, but still gave up 4 walks in that game. And the Mets, who have not been great against lefties themselves in July, still got to Perez for 5 runs in that start, like I mentioned. So I think the Mets can at least get to Perez early. I don't necessarily want to rely on the Mets bullpen late in this game because the Mets have the second highest bullpen ERA in baseball in the month of July at 7.23 for an ERA. Atlanta's just under 5, so not much better, but I'll still stick with the Mets here in the first 5 innings on the money line. And shout out to our sponsors over at Prize Picks, who have hooked it up with a brand new offer where you play $5, get $150 in lineups when you win your first lineup. Use the code HMA and the link in the description of this video to take advantage of that offer.
Next up, we are headed into the south side of Chicago. We got the New York Yankees and the Chicago White Sox in this one. Probable starters, it looks like it's going to be Garrett Cole for the Yankees, Mr. Noah Schultz on the mound for the White Sox. Noah Schultz, I think, is going to have a bright future in this league. I love him as a prospect. I think he has everything you want in a starting pitcher, but I just think he's too green. And he's really struggling this rookie year. 6.03 ERA, 3-7 record. He is a lefty. What have the Yankees done well this season? They've been great against lefties. Nothing is telling me to take the White Sox in this game besides, how good this White Sox team has been at home this season. It's a White Sox team that's 31-19 straight up at home this season and only 5 games above 500. So these are the spots that they've been great in, but I just can't back the White Sox with Noah Schultz on the mound. And on the other side, you got Garrett Cole on the mound for the Yankees. And don't get me wrong, Garrett Cole hasn't been as dominant as he's been in past years this season, but it's still Garrett freaking Cole, man. You know what I'm saying? And this is a Yankees bullpen that's still one of the best in baseball. Right now, the line is at minus 136, favoring the Yankees. I would probably set this one closer to minus 140. So I do think the Yankees are a good play. It's a little juicy. It is a little juicy to take the Yankees on the road, but this is still Garrett Cole we're talking about. This is still a very prominent pitcher in baseball, and you got Noah Schultz on the other hand, who's having a pretty brutal rookie season. So it would only be the Yankees for me. That price might keep me off of it, but if I had to bet it, I would go Yankees.
Now we're going to Busch Stadium for a really important NL Central Division matchup between the Cardinals and the Cubs, and it is a lefty-lefty matchup here. As you got Matthew Liberatore slated to start for the Cardinals, David Peterson listed as the starter for Chicago, and Peterson had that rough outing against the Cardinals back on July 3rd. It was 10 runs allowed, 9 earned across 3 2/3 innings of work. But surrounding that, Peterson has gone 5+ innings in each of his other 3 starts as a Cub, has given up a combined 3 runs across 17 1/3 innings of work in those 3 outings. So I think that outing, while it wasn't great for Peterson, while I'm not a big fan of David Peterson's game, I still think it was a blip more than anything else. I still think that Peterson is going to be able to provide some solid innings for this Cubs lineup. Now, you're facing a Cardinals lineup that obviously demolished Peterson in that first start. But in the month of July, still bottom 10 in baseball in team OPS. The batting average is only at 241. And if you go the day after that start, it was a big number as to why, or a big reason as to why the numbers are even decent for the for the Cardinals since then. I just don't think that this is a great Cardinals lineup against left-handed pitching right now. I still think that the Cubs, a really good team against lefties, can get to Liberatore here. And ultimately, I think the Cubs get the win in this one to draw first blood. So I'm going to take the Cubs in this one on the money line.
Before I get into the next play, over here at Pickdawgz, we offer a program called the Inner Circle. The Inner Circle is for our bigger bettors. It's for our high rollers that are looking for more of a white glove, one-on-one concierge type of service. It's separate from the plays that me and Chris put out on a daily, but these are some of the highest sports bettors on planet Earth. If this sounds like something up your alley, text the number on the screen. Cassie or Eric will get back to you, and they'll give you the rundown of how you can join. Next up, we are headed into Anaheim. We got the Houston Astros and the Angels going at it. Probable starters for this game, looks like Amai is on the mound for the Astros, and Walbert Urena is on the mound for the Angels. While I'm recording this, Astros minus 117 favorites. I think the wrong team's favored. And don't get me wrong, the Astros seem to be in good form right now. We saw them sweep the Mets. They're on the verge of sweeping the White Sox while I'm recording this. They're still playing their last game against the White Sox. Look, the Astros are playing good ball, but if you think I'm paying juice with Amai on the mound, you're crazy. And I've been saying it. I think Walbert Urena is the new number 1 in this Angels rotation. Jose Soriano had a historical start to the season, and I think Jose Soriano is still a great pitcher, but the Angels got a good one with Walbert Urena. This guy's good. And I've taken him a few times this season, and more often than not, it works out for me. The Angels also returning back home here where they've played their best ball. This team has been abysmal on the road this season, but at home, this is where they've been able to squeak out some wins. So for me, guys, I would attack the underdog odds with the Angels here. At best, I would set this at even. I would go minus 110 both ways. I don't think Amai should be a favorite in this game going against, in my opinion, the Angels' new ace. So it'd be the Angels on the money line for me.
Now it's off to Sutter Health Park where the Athletics take on the Boston Red Sox. It's going to be Jack Perkins listed as the starter for the A's and Peyton Tolley for the Red Sox. And Jack Perkins, he's got solid expected numbers, but what we've seen from Perkins so far in his limited action at Sutter Health this season is that this hitter-friendly ballpark in Sacramento has really taken its toll on Perkins. Across 14 appearances, 4 starts, spanning 34 innings of work, Perkins has a 7.41 ERA, a 266 opponent's batting average, and you look at the bullpen for the Athletics, highest bullpen ERA in baseball in the month of July at 7.71. So it's hard for me to think that the Boston lineup, the way the Boston Red Sox are swinging the bat, can at least not do some sort of damage here against Perkins. Even, like I said, even though the expected numbers for Perkins are okay, I still think that Boston's going to be able to get theirs. On the other side, you've got Peyton Tolley, who has had issues on the road this season at times. He didn't go overly deep into that game against the New York Mets last time out. He did have 7 strikeouts across 3 2/3. And for me, Peyton Tolley still has been a decent option for the Red Sox this season. His ERA is actually below 3 on the road. So if you're looking for a reason to back the Red Sox, it would be that. But hasn't pitched at Sutter Health since last season. And he still gave up a pair of solo home runs across 2 innings of work in the start in that lone outing. And you have an Athletics team that, while they haven't been great in the month of July, they have at least done their fair share of damage against lefties, sitting around league average in team OPS. The isolated power numbers are decent. The batting average is solid. I wouldn't be opposed to anyone looking at the over in the first 5 because Boston's bullpen does have the best ERA in baseball in the month of July. But again, none of that came at Sutter Health with how hitter-friendly this ballpark is. So I'm going to roll with the over between the A's and the Red Sox.
For the last game on this slate, guys, we are headed into San Francisco, California. We got the Milwaukee Brewers and the Giants going at it. Brandon Sproat is on the mound for the Brewers, and Tyler Mahle is on the mound for the Giants. While I'm recording this, the Brewers are minus 130 favorites. I do think that line is pretty efficient. You know, you might think, oh, that's pretty close odds for, one team like the Brewers who's having a fantastic season. And then on the other hand, the Giants have kind of been a dumpster fire this season. But it does make sense to me. You know, Brandon Sproat has kind of been the weak link in this Brewers rotation. And Tyler Mahle, yeah, you look at that ERA, it's a 5.31 ERA. He's definitely not having his best season. But if you do look at his splits, he has been much better at Oracle Park versus than on the road. So I understand the number, but it would still be Brewers for me. And I wouldn't mind paying the price. Look, Brandon Sproat, he hasn't been great, but look, going into a ballpark like Oracle, a pitcher-friendly ballpark, going against the Giants lineup that, isn't great. I think he does all right. He may give up 1 or 2. But really what I like here with the Brewers is that bullpen and these bats. Just much more consistent all around than everything the Giants put out there on the field. So it would still be Brewers on the money line for me. And that is the show, guys. Another episode of On Deck concluded. We appreciate you guys watching this each and every day. We are not stopping. We'll be here each and every day. Like I said in the beginning of the video, if you guys are looking for my best bets and Chris's best bets, you can always find those by clicking the links in the description of this video. Let's have a good week. I'll catch you on the next one.